Hey y'all, it's Sydney from Census. I'm back with another Census business tour. Today we have Sensori, a new up-and-coming functional beverage brand. I'm so excited for you to meet the founders, Shanna, Ashlyn, and Darean. So let's go.
Hi, I'm Shanna.
And I'm Darean.
Hi, I'm Ashlyn.
And we're the founders of Sensori. Come on in. So we're the founders of Sensori. I'm CEO.
COO.
And CMO.
We've also been friends for, I think, over a decade at this point.
Now, for sure.
We all met in middle school. And I mean, funny enough, we all say this, like we've shared like our earliest drinks of alcohol together.
Yes.
And then, I mean, we all just say over the course of time, we just have realized like this doesn't serve us.
Yeah, for sure. I think what once was obviously like something that was tied to a lot of like fun and like silly memories is now kind of being tied to some of our worst nights. And again, we're not alcohol shamers by any means. Like we still may have a drink here or there for celebratory purposes, but just really wanted something more intentional for when we felt like alcohol wasn't aligned with our schedules, because you know, like we're grown women now. We have jobs, we have things to do, and for instance, like on a night that you know I might want to see like my girlfriends, but I want to still be chipper and really sharp for my meeting in the morning. This is kind of what we started Sensori for.
I think like through our wellness journeys, like for me, the wellness of just like my mind, my body, my spirit, it's always been something that I've prioritized and that really all of us have prioritized, which I think has kept us connected just throughout all these years. But definitely in that 2020 era, and then sort of when we came out of COVID, it was like very apparent that like when I drink alcohol, like my mind feels off, my spirit feels off, my body clearly feels off. And so just that in my own personal wellness journey was like, okay, this is a problem and like we need to come up with a solution. So definitely our own personal wellness journeys have like been really the crux of what has fueled Sensori.
And also just one last thing to add, like as we entered our wellness journey, it made us do a ton of research on alcohol, which made us realize like alcohol is essentially like a gasoline that can fuel an engine. So just want to put that out there. So that's why it truly is like an antidepressant. It causes anxiety, it ruins your sleep, because it's essentially like a poisonous liquid.
When we say that out loud, it sounds crazy. Like it literally.
I mean, it is a toxin.
It
like,
fuels
you are
planes,
intoxicated.
trains,
like, it's
cars,
toxin.
and then we just put it in a liquid and
drink it.
Yeah.
drink it, and we're like, yay.
I always like joke people when people are like, oh, like, I won't have this, or I have to have like a certain kind of milk, or like I can't have additives or these sugars and stuff. And I'm like, do you drink alcohol? Like, like it's true. Like, it's just funny, like the way that we kind of pick and choose like what's good and what's not, because alcohol is societally accepted, but other things, are shamed. But
Yeah.
it's all about, I feel like, educating yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Once you know, you know. You can't unknow
You can't unsee it.
And then once you know it, you just are like, now when I have a drink, I'm so guilty. I'm like, damn, I'm gonna wake up and feel terrible. And then, the Oura rings or like the sleep trackers,
Yeah.
they
If
will
you don't
clock
feel
you
bad,
every
they'll
time.
clock you.
Every single time. So all I have to say, the personal wellness journey is definitely a key driver of Sensori. I'm a three-peat entrepreneur, same for both of them. We've had 3 businesses at this point. And as soon as we started building Sensori, there was just this obvious different momentum and reaction. Like her and I were actually just talking about this. Our parents are like the first ones to check us and be like, bad idea, no. And like we've had multiple businesses. And so I remember my first business, it was an athleisure brand, and it was cute. Like it did well for what it needed to be at the moment. But my dad would be, and I'd be like, Dad, can you give me money for it? He'd be like, I'm not giving you money for that. And when we told him about Sensori, he was like, okay. Like, and just even those like early reactions were like validating. And then as we started to really put it out there on the market, people just gravitating it the way they did, like we had never had anything where people were like so drawn to it. There was just like this obvious solution that it was providing. And I think, and you guys will probably say this too, when we launched and it was more than friends and family purchasing, like it was like strangers, we were like, oh, like this is a thing. Like this is definitely a thing.
And even just having friends who are very into functional beverages, that's essentially all they drink, and them confirming we are choosing like Sensori over these larger brands because of the sensation and most importantly the flavor, that was like extremely validating for us.
Yeah, I think also like our formulation company, like also very validating in the fact that this is a very good formula. Like even when they were sampling the product, we'd get on calls and they're like, yeah, everybody in the warehouse is drinking the samples of Sensori. So really knowing that obviously experts in the space and who have seen a lot of products come through, I feel like that was really validating from like a product perspective for sure.
And also adding that we have definitely watched, or we've seen founders from these like well-known brands on our feed, liking our things, following us. And so that's also very validating, noticing they're watching us and they're watching us for a reason.
Yeah, and then kind of to your point on the formulation team, our formulators, like before we had barely launched, and they were like, hey, are y'all looking for like additional like people to support the brand from like a true business partnership standpoint? And we were like, oh, you want to be a part of the business, like you want equity.
Yeah.
And we had just launched at that point.
Yeah, we were
and
like
they came to us with that proposal. I don't even think we were months. I feel like we were like
I don't know.
weeks.
It may have honestly even been like pre like actual launch.
Because remember, our mentors were like, that's too early. Like, I don't even consider that. And so having those like early people that were like wanting to get equity, we were just like, okay, there's something here. Like we're definitely onto something. So yeah, honestly, just time after time, we've been like extremely validated in what we're building, that like there are legs on this business. So my background has been in public relations and brand strategy, like for all of my career. And a lot of the brands that I supported were wellness brands. And what became like so obvious and apparent for me was that honestly, the wellness industry is like not marketed towards people of color. Like it's just not. Like all of those modalities like cold plunging and infrared saunas and all those like really cool wellness modalities that truly do support your journey, they're not necessarily marketed towards us. So that was an obvious gap, is that like we need something that like granted is for everyone, but is clearly for people of color. And that was just an obvious gap in my opinion. I don't know if y'all have anything to add to that.
I would also say that these type of functional beverages oftentimes do not feel like they are geared towards someone who still wants to live like a luxury lifestyle. You know, we really take pride in going to like spas and getting massages, and we enjoy spending our money on those things. And I will spend money on, you know, like a nice beverage, but oftentimes you see cans that are more like psychedelic-esque gearing for individuals who want to go like hiking or want to go to festivals, and that felt like a gap for me. Like I never wanted to reach for those beverages. I wanted something that felt luxurious and that like I wanted to bring to the spa with me to match that aesthetic, because it really is like, it just adds to the fun of doing all of these wellness activities for me.
Yeah, I would agree. Definitely, I think that we didn't see anything on the market that was as approachable, especially for like our target demographic, which I feel like is right now really women like us who are willing to spend a premium amount of money on, you know, something that we know is going to better our wellness journey. But I also think that, you know, we spend a lot of time in the, you know, creation of our product, trying other products, which is what really kind of gave us a light bulb of that was truly the white space, was that they didn't taste good. Like there were products on the market that have similar ingredients, like not necessarily like a proprietary blend, but they just don't taste good. And it's because these, you know, herbs and things are actual medicines, like they're herbal medicines, and it's hard to kind of get that flavor down. So that was where we really saw a big white space, was, okay, how can we find like a best-in-class formulator and flavorist to help us mask that taste to still kind of deliver in that category.
And then adding on to what she said, the other like really obvious white space was like the current players in the space who do kind of do it well, they're all THC infused, and not everyone wants that. Like actually what we found is a lot of people are like turned off if there's THC in the beverage
or CBD.
And ours is THC free, CBD free, and for a lot of people that was like, oh nice, because like I don't want THC. And so we were like, okay, well we can fill the space of like the non-THC, but make it taste good and market it towards like a broader group of people and kind of just have like a deeper and wider cultural resonance. And from our first 120 days in, I think we've proven that like it works. We started working with the Formulation company way far before we actually even launched the beverage. And the way that we even started was during Dry January, I think back in 2023, which I will say we always start the year off not drinking, just like I think it started off as like a church thing, like doing like the Daniel fast, and then just like as we got older, it was like it was a Daniel fast thing for church, and then as we got older, it was just like a personal choice, and then now it's been like this popularized like dry January, so now we call it dry January. But that being said, back in like 2023, we were trying all these different alternatives, and that's where we realized like this is nasty, like all of these are gross. And so as soon as we tried one brand in particular that tasted decent, it had a decent effect, we just started doing research and we found that formulation company that made that beverage. And from there, we just jumped on a call and started discussing like what we were trying to build. And so they started giving us recommendations on like certain herbs that we should go try. So before we even like put something together, we really just started out like trying these different herbs and trying them in different, mixes. And so then we knew it was going to be something, but at that point it was still just like an idea that we were experimenting with. So we started testing all the herbs in January of 2024. We didn't actually start formulating a true beverage until July. So I guess it took 6 months, because in July is when we officially paid the fee. I have the video we took where we were in the car and we were like, all right, let's pay it.
I forgot about that.
No, yeah, we have a video and we were like, oh shoot, okay, like now that we know like these herbs, we actually need to
I need to see that
get that
video.
video. I
Yeah,
have
we
it.
need to get that
I have
as
it, but we literally like paid it was a hefty fee, because we were like, are we doing this? And we're like,
Yeah. And I will say I remember exactly where I was. I just left my Pilates class and you called me and you were like, all right,
got the invoice.
we're making a product. I got the invoice and I was like, call Ashlyn. Did you talk to Ashlyn? We need her. And then like that, I feel like so quickly. Like
No, it was super quick. Because by the time you guys asked me on the team, I think it was like mid-October maybe, or like early October. And like we had like a sampling party like come mid-November. Like had people over here. We were like, we need to go to market. Our initial plan was to launch for dry January, but we've learned many of things as business owners since then. There's lots of things at play.
Don't stick to a timeline. Be flexible.
Production,
don't tell anyone a time.
like yeah, lead times are like made up. Like it truly varies. But I think that by the time like we had no physical anything, and then it was like November 1st, they were like, we have cans of it, and we were like, okay, let's get people tasting it. And we had a sampling party, so we invited like friends and family and like friends of friends to really just validate the flavor. And I feel like that was also like a very big, like people were like, oh, like this is actually good. Like we're watching people socialize, being super sober, people guessing the flavor without us telling them. So that was also a big validating point to know that, okay, like we're like, this is working, this is a good formula, and it's not just us that thinks it's great.
Remember some people were like, they were like,
are y'all drunk?
Yeah, they were like, I think
No,
I'm a
my
little
dad
drunk.
was here. My dad was like, girl, are you drunk? Like, he's like, you're running around talking to everybody. And I was like, no.
It's the Kana. The Kana in this beverage, if like you were unaware of like what Kana does, it sort of like socially opens you up. And I think it's the serotonin just kind of like maybe like
Makes you very euphoric.
right, it's decreasing like the stress in your brain, and it's increasing just like that happy feel good. And so that in itself, it kind of gives you like this natural, I don't know if a natural high is the right way to put it, but like kind of a natural just like high.
And I do want to just make a disclaimer that this is Kana, not Kava.
Kava.
Or Kratom, which are
Kava
two
and
very
Kratom.
addictive ingredients that a lot of functional beverages add, because essentially they want you to keep coming back. And we were very clear on staying away from those two, because that is not our goal. We do not want you to be addicted to this beverage. We just want you to truly enjoy it.
Yeah.
So Kana. Like the days are hard. The days are long, and I think that's why you need to be, if you're gonna work with your friends, people that can understand you, because there are days where one of us has to work harder because one of us has to do something else. One of us, we're just like depleted, and you really have to be able to understand each other. And a lot of times we don't even have to say it to each other, which is really helpful. I think we understand each other from ins and outs, even from like when we're very happy, from when we are low. And so I think it makes building a business easy for us, because we can just fully understand each other from both a personal perspective and a business perspective. I think it's also good to always note that like we always take things in a positive way. So it's always understanding that like we're only trying to do what's best for each other and best for the business. And I think that's very important, because we are, dealing with a lot of different avenues. Ashlyn may tell me something that I have to do. I may tell her something she has to do, and vice versa with like Shanna. And we have to understand that like we all have a role here, and we all have to, like we all know our certain roles. Like we're experts in those roles, and we have to listen to each other.
I have enjoyed building businesses with two best friends. You spend so much time together. I feel like you want to spend it with people that you have like a deep relationship with. Like I couldn't imagine building this with like two people that I hardly know.
And I think that we clearly, like Shanna mentioned before, that we've all three had businesses and we've supported each other like in those businesses in different ways. And so I think that given that we all have clearly had like a same career, like end goal, it just made sense. Like we were just like, you know, we done service-based businesses for some time, let's do a product. And like when the idea comes to us, we'll be ready to like hit the ground running. So when it came down to it, like we all knew like, you know, our end game, we all want to work for ourselves. And so that shared goal, like throughout the decade of our friendship has always kind of like tied us there. We know each other's skill set. So like I fully trust if Shanna's like, this is a good person to partner with, like I don't think about it twice because she's a CEO, she's a visionary. If Darean's like, no, we can't do that because the lead time is 12 days instead of 15 days, I'm not even gonna ask her a question. So it's just being able to trust each other to actually do the work and not necessarily like hovering over someone else. Like if I was doing this with another friend, I'm like, okay, I don't really know what their work is like, whatever, I'd probably be checking in a lot more, which would not allow us to be as efficient and like have launched as quickly. I think because we have that trust and we know that like we are experts like kind of in our fields, I think that's also what gives us a little bit more edge, just because our skills really complement each other. Darean has a big like ops background, I have a big marketing background, Shanna's in PR, and we've worked at startups, so I think that that's also the blend, right? Like it's, you couldn't do it with everyone friend-wise, but also like skill set-wise. I wouldn't do this with my other two friends that I know are also good in marketing, because then we'd have a marketing agency,
right.
You know? Like, we wouldn't have a product, you know?
Put yourself out there, DM people, get LinkedIn Premium, I swear by it. Send one message, 5 messages, like you'll be surprised how many people are willing to like reach out, give you advice, set up a free meeting with you. Like so much of our growth has come from people we've just followed. We've been underneath their comments on Instagram, we've been asking them for help, and they have been like just been willing to speak back life into us with all of their advice, and it has been so like inspirational and also just like very grateful. So I would say just network, because people will help you.
I would say just make sure you feel very confident in whatever room you're stepping into, very confident in what you're presenting and who you are, because I do think obviously how you feel about yourself like projects into any kind of work that you're doing. And yeah, like just don't be discouraged. If you hear and like read things about, you know, founders failing, like I just think that you should feel like you should keep going. Like I think take everything, take all the knowledge, but still really use your own discernment when making decisions about business, for sure.
That was gonna be my advice too, is like to really believe in what you're building, because I mean, as often as people do build you up, which again, we've had the most amazing like people that like encourage us and give us like the best like words of wisdom, but there are also people that sort of like want to be your sort of like go touch grass a little bit and like remind you of like the reality of things. But I don't think reality works when you're building a business. Like you can't live in like the reality of things. You need to honestly be a little bit delusional and obviously like believe in something that like no one else can see it. Only you can really see it. And so I think it's easy for people to not see your vision and sort of like deflate your balloon a little bit. And I think it's just super important that you believe in what you're building and don't let other people's journey influence how you're feeling about yours. And so really just like stay rooted in your journey and take everyone's advice, but to Ashlyn's point, use your own discernment, use your own intuition to continue to be your guide is, I think, my number one advice is lean into your intuition. At the end of the day, you know what's best for what you're building, not anyone else. So the biggest mission of Sensori is to disrupt the alcohol space. Like similar to how Poppy disrupted the soda space, we think that we have the potential to disrupt the alcohol space and to take away from the sales that alcohol brands are getting, and we can take that market share. And so the vision, the goal is like to disrupt the alcohol space, which eventually leads to, you know, one of those large alcohol conglomerates like Diageo or what is that other like?
Even Pepsi.
Even like a Pepsi, like big beverage distributors, like we want to make waves that make them be like, who are these girls doing this? Like, I am so confused how this brand came out of nowhere, and they're at all these big cultural events. Like, they're at Coachella, they're at CultureCon, Essence Fest, like, and honestly, we already are on that pathway. Like, people reach out to us by the day that are like, hey, we want Sensori to be the non-alcoholic sponsor of this. Can y'all provide us inventory? And we're like, we sold out.
We're really just trying to change the way people consume drinking.
Yeah.
And how they socialize, how they self-care. Like, we are really focused on people understanding there is a better way that keeps you present, that keeps you in control, and still allows you to socialize and have an amazing time. And these functional beverages can taste just as great as alcohol, and you'll save calories and on sugar. So,
and you'll save brain cells, first off and foremost. You'll save brain cells. You'll actually create new brain cells because quite literally, lion's mane regenerates your brain cells. So if you want to save your mind, I think you should consider drinking something other than alcohol on a daily, because
try Sensori.
Drink Sensori.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. You can shop Sensori on our website at drinksensori.com and keep up with us on our socials at Drink Sensori on Instagram and TikTok. Cheers!
Cheers!